Yay! We are back. We are back, honey. I am super excited. This is a beautiful new week, a new day, a new opportunity. Honey, this is August and it is new beginnings. So embrace that for yourself. I'm trying to think,
Yes,
people really think, I know a lot of people may not be into numerology and things like that, but there's significance with numbers. And
it
so,
is.
the
That
number,
one and that one,
yes, I'm
that
telling
double
you.
double.
Yes, it is significance in that thing. So embrace the fact that the number 8 represents new beginnings. So in August, you think school starts back. It's a lot of different things that, it's like fresh and brand new. And so embrace that in your private, personal life. Embrace that in your
Yes.
time with God. Let this be a new, fresh beginning with your relationship with God, spending time with Him, being intentional about spending time with Him. I'm telling y'all,
And
it's a
spending time with you. Don't forget about little old me. Spend some time with you.
Yay. What do you say? Nobody loves me. Love yourself. How about that?
Yes.
Like that one. When you
Amen.
love yourself, I'm telling you, big things start to happen. But you got to love you first so that you can attract
Yep.
things and people and all that loves you. But it
Yes.
has to start. And if you say you love God, you got to love yourself.
Y-
You have to.
If you say you love God,
Because if not, you don't really love God because God resides in you. So you can't
Mm.
say, I don't love myself, but I love God. If God is in you, that's a double negative.
but
Mm.
people will say, but I love me. I love me. But you treat you terrible. You treat you
Oh,
like I'm
oh,
going by your action. I'm talking about how you talk about yourself, how
yes,
you view yourself.
yes.
You will say, oh, and I'm just talking from my own experience, but like, you so dumb. Like, why would you call you dumb? Like, that's crazy. Like,
Or abandon yourself and sacrifice yourself for somebody else
for
to
some,
make somebody else
I'm
Every
happy.
telling
single
you.
time. Every
Can't no,
single
and
time.
you know what I have learned, especially being single. Can't nobody love me like me. Can't, I mean,
Amen.
I know why it's hard.
And it should not be that somebody can because who should know you better than you? Only one that knows you better than you is God.
Yeah, the
Outside of
only
that,
person, and that's the only
e-
person that
even your
can love
mother,
you like that.
may say, "Oh, I know you," and I'm sure they do to an extent. But you don't tell your mother everything. They haven't
Nope.
been present for every experience you've had. So therefore, your mother, your daddy, your husband, your children, nobody knows you better than you. And if you feel like they do, that's a problem.
Yeah, like
That is a
pause.
problem. You got to know you. So let me go back and say good morning to our favorites. Good morning, Miss Phyllis. How are you this morning? Good morning, Miss Patricia. How are you? Cynthia Lewis, how are you this morning? Good to see you ladies here. But we're talking about loving yourself. And the reality is, for a lot of people, why do we settle for less than what we deserve? You deserve to love you like no other. You deserve to sacrifice for yourself. You deserve to enjoy your life because it's the only one that you're going to get.
You
So
only get one.
why not enjoy that? Why
And
not?
just like you only get one August the 11th, 2026, I might as
Absolutely.
well make the best out of it. I only get one. Why not enjoy every bit of it?
Every-
Because settling is in a lot of places. And sometimes you settling and don't even realize how much you're set. Like it becomes a normal of
Yes.
settling.
Yes.
Somebody asks you, what do you want? Oh, I don't know. I mean, whatever. No, you have like stop for a moment. Like settling is saying Jesus did not go on that cross.
Right. It's like you have no other choice, but God gave us choices. Thank you, Cynthia. We have choices in life. You have a choice to wake up in the morning to say, today is the day the Lord has made. I am going to rejoice. I shall rejoice and be glad in it. And I'm going to be glad if it rains. I'm going to be glad if it's the sunshine. I'm
I'm
going to
gonna be
be
glad if it
glad if
rains.
it's just a cloudy day. I'm going to be glad, baby, if it's snowing and hailing outside, baby. I'm just going to be glad because I'm here today because the reality is tomorrow's not promised. I don't
Tomorrow,
care how good you feel today. You don't know what
tomorrow,
tomorrow. You can't.
tomorrow. I had a friend that he passed away a few days ago.
Oh, I'm sorry
He
to
had
hear.
just rung the bell and survived cancer.
Oh, wow.
And 2 days later he passed away. But again, I know he never settled because he had sickle cell, and you could, like, he would be so sick and you couldn't tell it. He'd be like, I'm coming, I'm on my way. Like, the I'm not settling for this sickle cell. Like, this is not getting ready to have my life. He would get out of the hospital and be at his daughter's basketball game
Mm.
because he decided, I'm not settling for this. I'm not gonna settle the life where you shouldn't be doing much. What if I don't have much? You keep telling me I don't have many days to live, and you tell me to go to bed. Like, he said, I just break it down. They keep telling me it could be any day now, but they tell me I need a lot of rest. I, he was
But
like, I have a
you
choice.
you have a choice in how you show up for yourself. And the reality is, as we talked about, who are you? Who is her last week? Now that you have spent some time thinking about who you are, now we got to look at the choices we make and
Mm-hmm.
why is settling so easy. And Natasha, is there a underlying psychological
Of
reason
course.
for that?
Well, as Sparkle was speaking earlier, what's coming to my mind is expectations. When you talk about enjoying the rain and enjoying today, and just enjoying everything that is in your presence, I think the hardest part for us to do, the reason why it's hard to enjoy just everything, good, bad, and indifferent, is because of the expectations we have. And if
Mm-hmm.
we're not managing our expectations, because we wake up in the morning, and kind of like before we started the show this morning, I had it in my mind on how my morning was going to go. And my morning totally went in a completely different direction.
Mhm,
And so when you're focused more on your expectations of how you want things to be,
mhm,
sometimes we get so caught up in that, we
Mm-hmm.
lose sight of appreciating and being grateful for what's right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we're looking at things through a very different lens. So yes, it is definitely mental, definitely emotional. And I always say to people and to myself is that you have to manage your expectations in life. Start your day with gratitude. Start your day with this attitude of God woke me up this morning. God is the reason why I have breath in my lungs, right?
mhm.
So whether it's raining outside or it's hailing outside, it's a great day because He created the day. He's already
It's a
outlined
great
my
day.
path. And so it's about a very immediately shifting that focus, and regulating that, managing that expectation. Because if you're not managing that expectation, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And you'll find yourself tolerating people, places, and things that you don't need to tolerate, but you do it just because you're stuck in wanting what you want, when you want it, and how you want it.
Yeah.
And Cynthia mentioned that at the time we don't know that until you get into the situation. When the situation happens, that's when you kind of realize because you're used to the traditional way. We're
Used
used
to it.
how someone has told us in society this is how it should be. And
Mm-hmm.
so when you color outside the lines, people look at you crazy.
Yeah.
But who told you that? If you have a coloring book page and you have the pictures and you color inside the lines, who told you that the borders don't have to be white? You
Who
can
told you
you
that?
can color the borders too. It's up to you. You can choose them. I say, oh, well, she's not supposed to have. Who said that? I like
Who said that?
I want her to have a pink dress. I want her to have, matter of
Mm.
fact, I want her to have on shorts. I want her to have on
Yes.
whatever. So it's up to you because the reality is if we lived our life thinking that, what if today is my last day? Would I
Mm-hmm.
tolerate that? Would I
Would
would
I?
I go over
You
here?
wouldn't.
What do I want my last day to look like? And if you're gonna do something that you wouldn't do on the last day that you have, then don't do it.
That's good, Angela. That is good. If you knew today was your last day, first of all, that's why God don't tell us, only tells us so much, because if we would wait until, if He said July 28th, 2028, we wouldn't wait until July 27th. We'd be like, okay, I can repent, I can ask for forgiveness, I can. He doesn't give us those dates and when and how and what, because he knows y'all don't know how to act. You gonna settle for anything instead of living the righteous life that you're supposed to live just because.
And you know that's so funny you say that the just because we were talking about, of course, why do we settle? And so one of the things it says is that why do you tolerate unhealthy relationships? And we talked about earlier about loving yourself, and it says that sometimes it's more than that. Sometimes people get into or stay in unhealthy relationships because of history,
Yep.
because of
The
children.
timeline.
People say, well, we'll probably divorce once the kids get grown, or some people stay because of finances.
Natasha,
They
how many
can't
times
make
have
it.
you heard that?
Well,
I,
first of all, this question, I'm sitting here like trying to figure out where to start with it. It's such a loaded question because
Mhm,
relationships, your very first relationship starts with you in the womb with your mother.
hmm
Every single human being, that is the very first relationship.
mhm.
Now, some may argue and say, well, your first relationship is with God. Well, that really all depends on if your mother, while you're in the womb,
it's
nurtures
already.
you correct and is in relationship with God. If not, you may be connected to God on a spiritual level, but on a physical level, you don't have that connection, right? So, but
So
just
you
bear
get
with
ready to
me,
get some people
audience.
stirred up.
Correct, correct. So you, so the first relationship is with your mom, and I need everybody to make sure that we're hearing this because I'm not trying to blame anybody. But when we talk about the things like self care and loving yourself and not tolerating things and becoming her, you don't just come out the womb knowing that, right? There's just so many things that influences a child. And it could either influence it in a positive way, it can influence it in a negative way, or it can influence it in such a way that it creates confusion for the child, right? So this whole idea of, why do we stay in unhealthy relationships? Because you need to look back and when you first started having relationships and were those relationships healthy? Now, people will argue with me and say, well, yeah, my mom was this and she was great and da 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 da, and that's wonderful. But you also had to have relationships with your dad, with your grandparents, with your cousins, with whoever was in your primary system taking care of you as a kid, right? Or growing up with your friends and watching your friends and in their households and what those relationships were like. So you're constantly influenced
Right.
by and adopt so many different ways on how to work in relationships. And so if you depending upon your background, depending upon where you come from, depending upon the influence that you've had in early childhood with relationships, that is going to determine the kind of relationships that you attract when you get older. Now, this entire season we've talked about becoming her, the season before and this season now, and why we're encouraging women and empowering women and men to become themselves and step into themselves is because their lives have been rooted in trauma, chaos, and dysfunction. So I'm
hmm
going to speak from
Oh,
that place,
give the
right?
three again, Natasha.
Trauma, chaos, and dysfunction. So what would make someone tolerate an unhealthy relationship? A, because it's familiar.
hmm
B, it's a comfortable place to be
hmm
because we as human beings fear change. So the idea of leaving something, even though we know it's bad,
hmm
right? This isn't about what you're knowing, it's more about what you're feeling. And that's what
Mm,
a lot of people miss. So you think about these domestic violence cases, people are quick to question. I just don't understand why she would put up with that and why wouldn't she leave? Because until you're in it and understand that she has low self esteem, she is insecure, she has no self worth, and she thinks this is as good as it's going to get, that's why she stays. Because in her mind, if I go anywhere else, I don't know what's going to happen. So it's not that she doesn't want to leave, but within herself, she doesn't know herself. She's lost. She's confused. She's insecure. She doesn't know her worth. And I need everybody to think about that for a second. We don't come into this world just knowing our worth,
No.
right?
Nope.
We rely on the things outside of us to influence us in a way to know our worth.
hmm
And so many of us don't even know our worth by the time we get into our teenage years. So
Yeah.
forget about relationships, right? And so
mhm,
Yep.
now I always say, and we talked about people being a mirror. People always question, and in myself included, so I'm not leaving myself out of this. Why
mhm.
did I attract that man? Why do I keep attracting these types of men? I attract a particular type of man based on what's going on inside of me. And I could sit here all day
Mhm.
and I could blame that man and say he didn't do this and he didn't do that. Okay, well, I
Mm.
sat there and I tolerated it. I stayed. And a lot of times for me, I stayed because I saw potential.
I was getting ready to say, baby,
That potential,
potential
but
will
I see
mess you
potential.
up.
Yep. So I stayed because there's this hope that, man, he can get better. Man, I can see him doing this. So I'm just going to hold on a little bit longer. And I'm going to go ahead and carry all the weight. And I'm going to go ahead and take the lead. And I'm going to go ahead and do all the things. And while I'm holding on to his potential, I'm sacrificing and abandoning myself because I don't know my worth. Now, I place him up. And as I place him up in life, he now takes off and leaves me because he goes and he
Mm-hmm.
finds something that may essentially be better for him. I could be mad at him all I want, but I had a role in that,
Uh-huh.
right? And part of me doing that is because when I was younger, I watched my mother do that, or I
Because
watched women in
it
my
was
life do that.
normalized. You got
Correct.
unhealthy behavior in your household became your normal. And
Hmm.
so at that point, everything else that you do is based off of that, of what you see in your household. And
And
I
because
think,
and behavior is learned, right?
yes,
So
absolutely.
a lot of us will say, well, I don't want to turn out like that and I don't want to be like that. But if you don't have a blueprint on how to do it differently, if you don't have healthy role models and new influences and new examples to show you how to do it differently, 10 out of 10 times,
That's your compass. Everything in your
correct.
life goes back. It's like a magnet.
Yep.
Whatever you are accustomed to, everything else gets drawn back to it. So no matter, you know how sometimes, when people talk about, getting on diets and they talk about yo-yo, because you're mentally, you may think, oh, okay, I'm gonna lose this weight, I'm gonna do this, and then you think, but why do I keep getting off? Why do I and starting over again? I'm always starting over because your compass is here. And so
Mhm.
everything that you do subconsciously draws you back here. So you may go off a little bit, but if it's not strong enough to give you a whole different opinion of why you need to change, then you're gonna eventually come right back to the same. It's like what the Bible said about a dog returning to his own vomit. You think like, oh, that's gross and nasty, but we do gross nasty frequently.
Mm-hmm.
We live in gross nasty and don't even realize it because it's normal to us. And the fact of it is, when you mentioned earlier about doing what's familiar, familiar doesn't mean that it's healthy.
Mhm.
Just because you're accustomed to it, that doesn't mean that that's a healthy thing for you.
Well, and the reason why a lot of us normalize that is because we fear change so much.
Hmm.
The idea of change or the idea of doing things differently is so scary to so many people that we would rather choose to stay in the
Mm-hmm.
discomfort.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I need people to really
Because it's
hear that
like it takes too much. Again, that's a lot of work. That's a lot
mhm,
of work that you're gonna have to do. A lot
to
of
create that
just
change.
boundaries that you gotta
Yeah.
raise up boundaries to do. And let's face it, most people don't want to do all the work. So I just let them keep calling. I don't say nothing. I just put the phone down and just let them talk on away.
But it's not. But in the reality of that, that is so crazy because we choose our hard. You're going to put in work no matter what you do. Work is going to be required in
Every
life.
single time. And
Period.
you
All
okay
the
if
time.
it's work for a paycheck, but your life is better than a paycheck. Like you okay with going to work to get a check for it, but you're not okay with working for you, which that over exceeds a paycheck any day.
Absolutely.
But it comes back to your worth, right? So a lot of people may question and say, well, it's not, you're not settling because you have low self-esteem. And I will challenge it and say, do you know your worth? Because when you know your worth, you won't settle, right? And where does our worth come from? Well, this comes back to an whole identity issue where we believe that our worth is tied to how we perform. So that's why we live so performance based, right? That's why we're striving to go to college and get educations and get degrees and get titles and get statuses because somehow our worth is tied to that. And God says, no, it's not. Jesus didn't have a doctorate, right? Jesus
A
didn't have
PhD.
status. He didn't have a PhD. He didn't have 10,000 degrees. He served God. He was a man of God, right? So and and well, they say Jesus was a carpenter, but look at what he came into this world and did for people as a carpenter. And yet we in society, excuse my language, will shit on the mechanic and shit on the carpenter and look at that as a low-lying job,
Like
or the
low
garbage,
down.
yeah, or
Like
looking at the garbage man. Well, that might be Jesus that's taking out your garbage. Like, we don't
the
stop to think.
waste people get paid some good money,
But the thing is,
but they look at it as that's just a trash person. But guess what? You need them. You need them to
You
come pick up that.
absolutely do.
you
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 absolutely
need
do.
that janitor. You need that cook. You need them in your life.
agreed. But this is where, again, when you take your worth and you tie it to things outside of yourself, this is where you lose yourself. This is where you lose your identity, and this is where you find yourself settling in relationships that shouldn't have served you in the first place, right?
Right. So, look, Natasha, I know you mentioned about not having self worth and low self esteem. So, for the strong, confident, successful woman who feels like I haven't settled, I went after my goals, I went after my dreams, I went after, I'm not selling, I've got a six-figure man, and we are here and we're a power couple and all these things. What about that woman? Because she can settle too.
Yeah, she can, because what she has settled for was education. She has settled that an education
So
or
is her worth
success is
so is
what
her
drives
worth
her.
right? So is her worth tied to her education, right? Does she define her worth through that level of success? So
Mhm.
yeah, she settled based on that. So it comes back to, what is my worth tied to? Is my worth tied to something tangible in this world? Is my worth
Mm,
tied to how much money I make? Is my worth
mm,
tied to the education that I have? Is my worth tied to the type of man or the level up of a man that I'm going to marry? Or is my worth in God?
yeah,
That is a very powerful conversation that a lot of people aren't ready to have.
that that's
Not
that's a
because
power,
a lot of people don't
and it
equate it
makes
to
you
that.
stop and think. Like you really like what I love about this conversation, because we all settle in some place.
Mhm.
Don't try to.
Absolutely. Oh,
Nobody has arrived. we
Correct.
we
Correct.
all are.
regardless of how many zeros are in your bank account, no, regardless of how many titles are in front of your name, we just like we've all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, we have all settled in some
Amen.
area, and you still are,
Yeah,
because there are times when we have loyalty without boundaries.
without loyalty,
There's
without
times
boundaries.
when we have
That
fear of
is,
failure.
and I think it goes back to, if I have to lie to you to make you want me, or
We've got a problem
we we have a problem. If
because then
I
you're
have
not
to
being authentic.
say, yeah, like if I have to put myself on a pedestal because I feel like you're way up here, so I have to, girl, me too. I have this, I have that. No, I'm not sitting here comparing my life and what I am. I'm still worthy, regardless of situations, regardless of bank account. That does not say that I'm not
Man.
worthy, or that you, girl, she better settle for that because she ain't gonna get nothing no better.
Mm. Mm. Who
Who's God?
says? Who
Uh,
says?
just that my worth is God. If
My
you
worth is
tie your
all in
worth
God.
into God,
But you have to
then
have that relationship. Like you have to have that connection with
Amen.
God in order to
To know your
understand.
worth.
in order to believe that and know that deep in your heart, deep in your, soul, you've got to always tie that to, no matter what's going on. Nobody should look with their nose turned up at somebody else just because you feel like you're in a better station in life. The fact of the matter is, anybody can be homeless. You're
Anybody.
one decision away from putting yourself in that position. So don't think that, again, like Spark said, we haven't arrived, but it's so many things that when we go back to talking about why do people stay in unhealthy relationships? A lot of time is people feel like the investment of time. I've been with this person so long that I put too much time in for
Mm.
me to leave.
Why would I walk away
Or
from that
why would
now?
I walk
And
away?
if you have to say that, I have to say this. If you have to say that, if that's how you have to justify, you really need to check yourself and check your heart. If I have to tell my heart, well, you've been here so long, you might as well.
But here's the word, right? The word is investment. My relationship should not be transactional because that's what comes to mind when I hear investment. I invested all
Right.
this time. Is it the
I've
stock
invested.
market? Like, did I just put so much money and time into this stock? Like, I'm not going to leave it, right? You know what I mean? We don't have healthy connections with ourselves. We don't have healthy connections with God. Therefore, we don't have healthy connections with other people. I wanted
Yeah.
to go back to the loyalty and boundary thing because there's a lot of people in the world says, I'm so loyal. Okay. But you could be loyal without boundaries or you could be loyal with boundaries.
And you can still, and you're still loyal.
So the person who settles is the one who's loyal without boundaries. That means that you are loyal to the bone and you just let people do what they want, when they want, how they want, and you tolerate it. That's where we settle. So
And you
settling,
tolerate.
when you know your worth, you don't settle for less and you don't tolerate the BS, right? You can have compassion and understanding for a person, but you also have to hold people accountable. And in my line of work, I see that a lot. People
Hold
don't
them up
like
there.
People don't like accountability. Like, oh, Natasha, you're so harsh and you're so direct. No, I'm just calling the truth for what it is. Because honestly, if I didn't have accountability in my life, I wouldn't be sober today. I'd be still out there running around going crazy, or I might actually just be dead by this point in my life, right? I needed that accountability. We need people in all areas, whether it's working out, if it's exercise, it's diet, or even in a relationship. How many of us women have girlfriends that say, girl, you better watch out for that man or keep your eye or whatever? They're trying to hold you accountable. You're like, oh, you're just talking shit about him or you just want my man or whatever BS goes on in the world.
Everybody
Right.
think everybody want their man.
Well, look, Miss
Right.
Patricia said it right. You can be loyal and
And
wrong.
wrong. Facts. She should have capitalized her wrong. So
And that's, I'm glad you even said about a man, Tasha. Everybody, she just all up in his face. I know she want him. If her conversation can get him, then baby, it's not her. Like,
yeah. And it ain't for, and that should not be a relationship that you settle for.
But the
Right.
that is called
person does
unhealthy.
that.
That if
Yes.
every time you go out, you have to check his phone, you have to check his. You know, women are smelling people like they're smelling them down
Interesting.
there, smelling them to see where they've been. Baby, the first
Wow.
time I had to open my nostrils to to smell you
Yeah.
I can't. That's
Well,
will
new.
be the first time
what
I'm
about
open back
it is
in my
people
bags because
normalize
I
it.
feel like it has gotten to a point that I'm smelling you.
And
But
again,
it goes
why
both
would
ways
you?
though. Because
Why
why
would you?
would a man allow himself to stay in that? Why would you want to be with someone who puts you through that level of foolishness
Because
that you're going to
you
stay with?
don't know your self worth.
And it's both ways. Why are you sniffing, but and why are you allowing yourself to be sniffed? It goes both
Why are you
ways.
sniffing? And
And
why
Congress.
are you allowed to be
why are you
sniffed?
allowing yourself to be that? I mean, we got to start really looking at it because somebody else is
That's some
like, oh,
and
I did
yeah,
not
unhealthy.
oh, I got
expect.
her. Oh, I
I
got
did
him
not
because
expect this morning.
he's displaying crazy behavior. The reality is, why are you tolerating someone doing that kind of crazy behavior? Like, oh, so
I did not expect this
because think about
conversation to
people
go
who are in
here this
abusive
morning.
relationships and somebody hits them,
Empire Morning Show. You never
he
know.
loves me. You know what I'm saying? Because we feel like, okay, well, he just loves me, and that's just how he, shows love.
That's how he shows how much he cares and how
What is he,
much.
a dog?
No.
That's how a dog
Right.
shows you he
But
loves you. He
it,
sniffs you.
it
Like
is,
what?
and it's unfortunate that people have gotten themselves into a position where that's what you believe. And
That's what you.
sometimes you believe that because you're in a religious environment where you can't get a divorce. They say, it's again, you can't do that. So you feel like, okay, well, now that I'm in it, I'm stuck in it, or I don't want to
I,
give up. I got to keep
I'm
on
never
moving.
So
stuck in
so let me
anything.
tell you. So let me tell you. I've stayed in two unhealthy marriages longer than I need to. My
You
first one
see,
was
they're
13 years,
absolutely foolish.
and the second one was 9 years. And for me, it was due to religious and cultural expectations.
Mhm.
Me believing that by leaving means I gave up or somehow I failed,
Uh huh.
Mhm.
and I stayed because I didn't want my kids to be without their dad.
I was going to say, want to keep the family together.
You
But
have to
on the
keep that.
opposite end of that, some people, if they don't have a family, they just don't want to be alone. They are afraid to be by themselves.
I'm telling you. it is some great times when you know yourself, when you understand yourself, when you are worth. Because I didn't used to like just hanging by myself. I have always been a person that separated myself. It was, but that was separated because I didn't think I fit in. That was all that self esteem type stuff. But when you can spend quality time with yourself and enjoy, not dang, I wish somebody was here. Oh, like when you cannot spend that loyal time, because you got to be loyal to yourself too. We always talking
Mhm.
about how you are for
Mhm.
everybody else, but
Mhm.
what about yourself? What if God is saying today, I'm not gonna give you no answer from nobody else? Like nobody's gonna come and be like, I just want somebody to talk to me and tell me what to do. It's not going to happen. He was like, I don't want it to come from Angela's mouth. I don't want it because when it does, then you start, oh, Angela did this for me, and Angela's getting all the victory.
Don't put my name in the credit. Like, I ain't trying to be responsible. Don't put me in that.
She
Oh,
said,
I
"Don't put my
mean,
name in the credits."
Put my name in the credit. No, ma'am, I'm good over here.
what you say? I don't need it because I don't need that bill, that
Hey, I
credit that you
don't.
try to give
Because
me.
look, when she said God's will, God's bill, don't put my name on nothing that I'm gonna have to be responsible for. No, ma'am. Because then the reality is it goes back to the expectations you put on other people. That okay, every time I go to them, they're gonna give me what I need, or they're gonna tell me what I need to hear, or they're gonna whatever, whatever. No, go to God so that He can tell you because He can see what I can't see. I might tell you something today that's gonna jack you up in 3 weeks,
And then they're going to blame you.
and
They're
then
going
they're
to say,
gonna.
"Well, Angela
I
told me
can tell
that."
you something today and forgot that I even told. Like, what did I? What did I say? Like, I can't even repeat it. And you want to, but that comes back to worth. When and even circles that you can meet some people and you can just be in a group of people like, this ain't this. I'm getting ready to go because it's that worth to yourself that you start removing yourself because I don't even want to be in this environment. Like I don't want to even be here because I'm not going to settle for this craziness to pop
But
off or even
let's
if it's not crazy, it can
let's go
be.
back. Let's go back to limiting beliefs. We talked about this a couple of shows back. If I don't believe that I'm good enough, if I don't believe that I'm deserving of love, especially again, you come from trauma, chaos, or dysfunction, what we're saying right here, right now, if anybody who's carries those limiting beliefs, they're just not going to be able to hear this message today. Because when
Not
we
today.
don't when we not today, but they can play it on repeat and they'll get it one day, right? But the bottom
Mhm.
line is when I believe that I am not worthy, I believe I am not deserving of love, I believe I'm not good enough, or this is as good as it gets, or nobody wants me, or I'm not lovable, whatever your limiting beliefs may be, that oftentimes is what holds you in bondage and keeps you hostage in unhealthy relationships. And
Mhm.
for all of my people out there, I need you to hear me when I say this. When you are not emotionally stable and mentally, emotionally well, you will attract someone who will prey on you. And your predator, your
Mm.
abuser, the person who will prey on you, have also been wounded as well. There was a conversation that we wanted to have, I think it was last season, and it's a very complex conversation because the terminology using today is a little over the top, but everybody wants to call everybody a narcissist,
Come on.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I am just like, I don't know how many people in the world have a PhD or a doctorate and or psychologist or psychiatrist who want to claim
Everybody.
somebody to be
Right.
a narcissist. But I need people to understand that people who truly struggle with narcissism, it is rooted in severe, severe abuse and their emotional needs not being met as a child.
Mm.
Mm.
And I don't say that to make an excuse for a narcissist, but when you understand, so coming back to compassion, that's what compassion is. I can understand where you're coming from. I still need boundaries.
Mm-hmm. I
So
still
so
need
I so
boundaries.
I understand you're a narcissist. I understand you're rooted in trauma. I understand that you have a lot of unresolved problems that has shaped your personality, but I will not sit here and tolerate this.
Not
Right.
me.
But to But to sit in it and tolerate it and then get mad and say, well, he was narcissistic and he was this and he was that. And my question is, well, where were you the entire time? Were you not part of the relationship? Like, we've got to
Hmm.
stop blaming one person over
Yeah.
another when relationships are not healthy or relationships have failed. Everyone has a role in the relationship. It took two to say I do, and it took two to say I don't, or we won't.
And like it takes two to fight, it takes like both people have to be throwing punches. Well, he fought me, no, and I had to fight back. You was fighting.
Yep. Or if you didn't fight back, let's say you're
Right.
passive, and because one of the things I'm thinking about through all of this is communication. Many of us don't communicate well. Many of us are either passive in our communication, I mean, we keep
Yes,
our mouths
aggressive.
shut because we don't want to, we want to avoid confrontation. Or you have the aggressor who doesn't care about being in your face and have no problem telling you like it is, right? And not sparing feelings. You have the passive aggressive who's sarcastic and uses humor and kind of like want to tell you what they're really thinking and feeling, but then they say it in a joke. So now you don't know if they're serious or if they're not serious because now they've created more confusion. And then you have the manipulative person. Well, if you just loved me, you'd do X, Y, and Z. Well, why don't you love me? And all that emotional crap, manipulation. That's not healthy communication. You are not being assertive. You are not um, asking for what you need. And if you don't know what you need, then you don't know how to communicate what you need. Then how are you going to get your needs met in the relationship?
You
Oh,
go get them. You go get your needs met somewhere else. You stay in the relationship, but then you go somewhere else to get your needs satisfied. But
Yep.
I'm
but
still.
it's, are you really, if you don't know what your needs are, sex doesn't feel it just because you think, okay, so you don't want to give it to me,
Bingo.
go somewhere else. But that's not the
Bingo.
need that you're
Th-
that you
That's
really want.
attention. That's
But it's not
attention
even
seeking.
sex. People getting. Why do you think people have work wives and work husbands? Because
Sure.
they talk to them and
The
But your
communicate.
emotional
need,
connection.
you have to know what your need is in order
Yeah.
for the need to be filled. So when
Yeah.
you start going to sample other things, whether it's sex with someone else, whether it's overeating in different places, whether it's
Yeah.
job hopping, whatever that looks like for you, you're bouncing around because you haven't stopped long enough to get with God and say, let me know who I am. So that way I'm not out here craving something all the time
Amen.
that I feel like I'm not
Amen.
getting, but I don't know how
That
to
I'm not out here
communicate.
craving. Oh, I
Right.
crave this. Oh, I want this. I want
Because it's
that.
craving. When you go with somebody who can never be sexually satisfied, that's an issue internally. That's not because you can't be physically um satisfied. It's because there's something else underneath there that you're not dealing with. You're just allowing
Facts.
sex to take to be the cause. Sometimes people
Facts.
eat not because they're hungry, they eat because they don't have anything else to do. They're bored. They're
They're bored.
understimulated. So they're just like, well, let me go get something to eat because I don't have anything else to do. Or I'll just,
Yeah.
you don't know what it is, but you don't sit with yourself long enough to figure it out. But let
Yeah.
me go back
And that's with all them ships. Like you keep jumping from friendship to to job. Like it's all the ships that you keep you can't get enough. You can't get satisfied. Who is that? who,
be still by yourself. When you know you and you love you and you're comfortable with you, then you by yourself and God is
mm.
really all
I'm
you need.
telling you, it'll
It
put a smile on
will
your face.
satisfy you.
Like
So that somebody else can't come in your face and tell you something to devastate you. Because you may say that's your choice and I respect it. And although I would love for us to be together, if you choose not to, my world doesn't end because you walked away.
it,
Well,
My
and just so we're
it's gonna
clear,
get better because now
you from God. Let's go
just
back and be clear. You settled in a whole lot of things. You settled in
Mhm.
friendships. You settled in careers. You settled in business. You
Yep.
settled in your family. You settled in your dreams and aspirations. We
Yeah.
settle in a lot of places. It's not just romantic relationships. You
Yep.
mhm.
settle in a whole lot of areas in your life. You settle with your money. You
Yep.
settle with a whole lot of things. And we've got to get to a place where we understand if you settle here, that settling here trickles over into a lot of other areas in your life.
You
Yep.
have to know
Settle with
that
your
you're worth
time.
you have to know that you're worth the effort because that settling comes down to this is as good as it's going to get.
Yep.
So I don't want to put any more effort into this, right? I'm at a certain age. I work with a lot of people to help them find their God-driven purpose. And a lot of my clients are in their 40s and 50s and saying, I don't know what my purpose is, and I'm not going to be here much longer, so why bother? And I'm looking at it
That,
going,
like
what?
that part, like why would you
So
dictate?
because you don't want to put the effort in, because you don't know the worth, you don't put effort into your worth. That's why it comes down to, you have to know that you are worth the effort. How do I know that I'm worth the effort? When I go spend time alone with God, God will let me know, and he will show me how much I'm worth. People don't want to sit with themselves. We are so busy being distracted by life and the social media thing and being on your phone and everything that's going on in the news. There's just this constant external world that we are allowing to flood us, that we're allowing it to
Don't even know
influence
birds
us,
sing.
and being consumed by it. The
Right.
idea of what you guys are talking about and sitting by yourself, it takes practice.
It
I
does.
I will tell people to sit quietly, and they're like, I can't do it for more than a minute. And a minute really isn't that long. But for a person who's used to going all the time and
That's a
being
long time.
distracted, a minute is a very long time. But I need people to really hear this, right? We say that we go to church and we read the Bible and we talk to God, or we pray to God. But if you ever paid attention, it's prayer and meditation. Prayer is you seek Him, you talk, you ask for the things that you need, you pray for others, all the things. Meditation is where you're still, is where Angela's talking about. You need to be still.
And quiet.
Still long enough where you're pushing out the distractions of the world so that you could hear the Holy Spirit. So you can be able to be given the answers to your questions and be given the direction that you need. So if you can't sit for a minute, then what are we really doing here? So you what? You're just dictating to God what you want, when you want, how you want, and then you just get up and go with your life, and you don't even stop to listen to what
Yep.
He has to say,
Yep.
right?
You know, I talk about the buzzword now is your nervous system.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's your nervous system.
I check
But
my nervous
you want to
system.
have calmness in your life,
Yeah.
because when you're calm, you make better decisions.
You do.
When you're very highly emotional, then you're going to say something or do something that if you had time to just sit down and be still with it for a minute, you may not have chosen.
Yep.
See, the thing about it is, we always feel like, okay, what if they take it off the table? So what if they do?
What if they do?
Hmm.
Because what my belief is, take it off the table you want to. Because what my God has for me, you removing it out off the table is telling me that wasn't mine anyways.
Amen. Amen.
As it
God's
should.
got something better.
As it should. But you know what? For so many people, they
Yeah.
say that, but then as soon as the offer is off the table, you second guess it. See, the
Yep.
reality is, if you're truly knowing who you are, knowing your worth, if you truly have a good relationship with God, then when somebody's asked you to get married and something inside of you saying, I don't know about that, because I don't know that on down the line, I see red flags, and I'm not sure. And then later on, you're like, "Ah, I should have married him. I should have took that off,
Or
or for the
or
job."
how about, I'm about to be 30 and all my other friends are married, so I think maybe I should get married too. What? So you're just going to totally ignore.
Because nobody wants to be the last of nothing. Like, I don't want to be the one that's still single. I don't want to be the one that's still making this type of money. I don't want to be the one who lives in the smallest house. But your comparison is comparison to somebody. You're not comparing you to you. You're comparing,
To someone else.
I'm gonna be the last one in the group. I'll be the last to get married. So what? The last shall be, like, it's
The
okay.
last shall
Like,
be
we have
first
made last like that. It's a bad thing
thing.
because
Yep.
you're the last. When your friend might be looking at you and say, "Girl, you should be happy. You
Happy
should
that
be."
you're single.
You don't know how good you got it, because the thing about it is, again, we are on the outside looking in. Even with somebody that is the closest of the closer friends with you, everybody doesn't tell you everything.
No.
And you got to stop thinking that you know so much about people's lives, because you don't. If you're not even in the same household, you don't know what somebody's thinking. You don't know what they dealt with at the job, or you don't know what they're dealing with in personal things, because yes, you can share with somebody, but you are still not them. So we only base things off of how we would do it. If Natasha tells me, "Oh, girl, this is just not, my light is not right or whatever," I'm like, "Oh, girl, it's okay. It's no big deal, and it's
It
no
don't
big
even
deal to
matter.
me. It may be a big deal to her." And I can't sit here and say, "Girl, she being dramatic." Girl, go ahead with that.
Yes.
Who am I to say that? Because I don't know what that triggers. I don't know what that. Do you know what I'm
You
saying?
know,
I
because
agree
people
with you
will say it don't
100%.
take
Bring it
all
back.
that. It don't take all that. Why do you
Thank
have to
you.
do this?
Well, I was just telling someone yesterday how I like the phrase, you just need to do this and you just need to do that. And I go, you just need to explain yourself because I don't know how you just do
Or
something.
you just need to mind your business.
Business.
like,
Thank you.
like if
Thank
you have,
you.
you just need to. You probably, if you got to tell me those words, you probably just need to mind your own business because everything does not have to be said. I don't have to come back and be like, no, I don't want to date you no more. Or no, I didn't like the way you. Now we're just gonna move different. Everything doesn't have to have a closure that you feel because every time, majority of the time when you have a closure, it opens another door. Then it opens another door. But why did you say I did like this? But why did you say it I do? A made up mind is a made up mind. I don't want to be your friend no more.
Well, that comes back with boundaries. So what you're saying is, what I say goes basically, and people don't know how to respect that. People just don't know how to respect that, and
Yeah.
that's where you have to put your foot down. It's like I don't owe you an explanation.
I
No
don't owe
means
you. I
no.
don't owe
No
nobody
is a
anything.
yeah. No is a complete sentence. But coming back to the you just need to do this, I agree with Angela. It's we don't have the facts, and everybody is highly opinionated about the person next to them. You want to have an opinion on what you think they should and shouldn't do and how they should do it, but do you really know what's going on in that person's life? Like, I have a big heart for people who are in domestic violence cases
Mhm.
because unless you have been in their shoes for
Yep.
both the abuser and the abusee, you have no
No
clue
idea.
and no
Zero.
idea why
Zero.
that dynamic is happening. And for you to stand on the outskirts and formulate your opinion of what you think they should and shouldn't do, I want to put you in that position under what's going on with them mentally and emotionally, and tell me if you wouldn't make the same decision. And I'm not saying that it's right. I need people to hear that
Yeah,
because
you're not
we live
saying
in a
it's right
world,
or wrong. You're not
right?
trying to point a finger.
And that's the thing. We live in a world where things are either right, wrong, good, or bad. Life is not so black and white. Life is not so concrete.
Whew.
You know what I mean? And so at the end of the day, and I use that as an example, but there's so many other things in life you watch in the news or something happens and you're like, oh yeah, well, if that was me, I'd do X, Y, and Z. Well, if that was you, you don't really know because you don't have all the facts to the matter.
And you don't know how you would act. Like, okay,
Correct. If you were
and
in it.
Natasha, even healing, you don't really know if you're all the way healed until you in
Yes.
that situation. When
And
you
then you're
in,
like, damn,
I thought
been
I,
there,
I thought I
been
was
there.
over that. I
I
thought I was
thought I was
good.
over that.
I
I
thought I
thought
was better.
I thought I was cool with him. And then when I saw him, I wanted to smack him. Like I immediately my anger raised all the way up.
Listen, my healer brought something up the other day. She brought something up to me and she took me all the way back to like early childhood. We're back there again. I was like, with all the therapy that I've done in my life, we're talking about that again.
But
She's like,
we
yeah, there's
there.
residuals.
Everybody's there in some area in their life. You like, you still there? Yeah. But
Yep.
I'm moving better. I'm getting better because now I recognize it. Because now recognizing, ooh, I still want to smack him.
Because the reality is, and let's just keep it real, we lie to ourselves.
Ooh. Yeah, we're not honest. We're not truthful.
We're not truthful with ourselves because you say, "I don't care, whatever. Do what you're gonna do."
Oh, you know how I feel about that. You don't.
You
If
do.
you have to say I don't care, you
You do
care.
care. More than you probably should.
More than you should. It's
You
self,
care.
it's self-preservation. It's saving face. You want to make sure that nobody thinks that they can hurt you or do anything to you or whatever. Inside, internally, you're breaking your heart,
Yeah, your
and
own
Yeah,
heart.
you're
you
breaking
break
your
your
own
own
heart.
heart all the time.
And
And
then you want to put up these walls and keep
right,
everybody out and disconnect yourself from the world because everybody X, Y, and Z. But it comes back to what Angela just said. Do you know what you need, and are you asking for what you need? And that is where we get honest with ourselves, is to take that 5 or 10 minutes, take that alone time, get with God and talk about what you need. And God
Yep.
will, one of the things I've learned, because I was one of those individuals that was fearful of being by myself, when I
Me
tell
too.
you, Sparkle and I have had this conversation almost to a fault. I love my alone time because,
It's starting to get a little scary. Like,
well, God provides for me whatever I need, whether it's comfort, whether it's support,
brother, it's
whether
laughter.
whatever it, exactly, that I could go to God. So I'm no longer depending on the man or the woman or the friend or the somebody or the parents or the whoever I used to depend on. I'm not relying on them to have my needs met. And
Yes.
that's what my program teaches people, is that you learn to have a relationship with the God of your understanding. You learn to build that connection. God will provide you with everything you need so that you don't ever have to settle again, because you'll know your worth. You'll know your worth in God, and you'll be able to live that purpose driven life that He's called you to live.
Yep.
But people, again, are so, they get so comfortable. And when you get comfortable, you get complacent.
Yep.
And when you get complacent, you don't move. You
And
know what I mean?
it's a lack of growth, and
Yep.
and everything should grow. And the reality is, Natasha, once you get to that place in God, then you have to then you'll get to a place where you stop needing people to validate you.
Yep.
Ooh, amen.
Yes.
You're gonna stop
Because
Amen.
I
needing
was
people
just
to
telling you,
choose me. You
Angela,
know what I'm saying? How people like choose me, pick me. You're gonna
it's
you'll
okay.
stop that when you know who you are.
You don't even
God's
got
already
Jesus.
chosen you.
You will
Yes.
stop
So
needing
I
people
don't
to
need you to pick
celebrate you.
me.
You know what I'm saying? Or to invest in you or to believe in your dreams or to you will stop asking people for permission to do stuff.
Yeah.
Because a
Come
lot of
on.
times we don't even realize how much permission we're asking.
You
You're telling
asking.
somebody, really asking them for permission for you to do something. Like, I want to do this, but what do you think? Should I? Should I not? But who are they? Why do you need to ask anybody permission to do anything? You're good and grown.
Facts.
Especially when you have a God that knows it all. So why do I have to go ask you when I have this God that will wake me up in the middle of the night sometimes when I have asked? He might not give me the answer right then because my mind going 500 ways, and he's like, one thing he don't waste time, he don't waste his words, he don't waste all that. So he
Facts.
like, I can't tell her right now, because if I tell her right now, she's not gonna be able to receive it. But let me wake up at 3 a.m. and tell her, no, we're not doing that. Oh, we're not.
Oh, okay.
And God is one of those, because He knows how to handle him. And you do it, you want to do it. Try me. But you have to, like, God has to tell me, try me if you want to, because He knows that she a little hard headed. So I have to warn her. If you try it, you're gonna be in some hot water that you don't want to be in. So if you want to stay over here in this smiling and just because you just woke up, stay away.
Hmm.
But again, that means that you got to know yourself so well that when God gets you, you're not upset with it. You're not going to argue with it, because the reality is, you know that He knows you and what's best for you. So if it's from God, we got to be okay with that. We got to trust God. We got to know God. We got to desire God. And when you do that, then you start moving in alignment with the things, because you already know, like, if I do this, I know God's going to be like, hold up. You know what I'm saying? It's like little kids. When you with your parents and you go somewhere, and your parents have already told you, don't you go in that store and ask for something. You already know. You can look at it and you be like, I really want it.
But you better not
Mama
touch
already
that.
told me. Because if I ask for
You
it, I
better not
know
ask.
my hand gonna get popped or something gonna be taken away when I get to the house. It's something gonna happen as a result of
Shoot, they
me.
love to pop me right there in that store.
Hey,
Like,
then
I
it's
But
gonna
told
you,
you.
embarrass you or something. No.
I want to go back. I want to go back to something you said that I want to punctuate, because it's something that I've experienced in the past as well. Is you said
Mhm.
we got to trust God.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well, here's the thing. We struggle to trust God. We know God. We can say all the things we know about who God is and what God can do. But when God doesn't meet our expectations,
Woo!
it's hard to trust.
Woo!
When the thing that I'm seeking isn't showing up when I want it, how I want it, and having the outcome the way I expect it,
Woo!
99.9% of the time, actually let me keep it real, 100% of the time, we get in God's way and we take back control.
Yep.
Right? That's our fixing, managing,
Right.
controlling, rescuing, enabling, and problem solving.
Oh,
If you fall into any one of those categories, that's you non-verbally telling God, I don't trust you with what I'm seeking, so I'm going to go ahead and get back in here and do my thing. And
because you
then get
But
gave it
the
mad
too
thing about
because
much.
it
that
didn't
though,
work out.
Natasha, so let me play on the opposite side of that. If God doesn't do what our expectations are, we don't either.
Hmm.
We say we want certain things, we don't even follow through with what we expect for ourselves. And the
Facts.
reality is, whatever, when you look back over the things that God has done and maybe gave you or didn't give you, and then you look back and say, okay, God, because I thought I thought he was the one. I thought that's who you had gave me. That's who I was in love with. That's who I built my dreams, my
I
white
spent
picket
all
fence
my
and house.
time.
It's
And
who I
it didn't
invested
work
in.
out. In hindsight, later on down the road, you're like, something happens and you're like, oh my God, thank you so much for allowing me. And so if we can say that with one thing, you don't think that's true on everything. You
Yeah.
have to also understand when you do manage the expectations, because yes, God, I thought you were gonna give me that job. I knocked that interview out the
I
park,
knocked it
baby.
out of the
I
park.
know these people need me. And they didn't choose you. Well, on down the line, when something comes through that blows your mind and pays you twice as much as what
You
gives
said,
you
whoo,
benefits
thank you,
out the
God.
anyway. Now you can look back and say, God, I would have been over here.
Settling.
Okay.
Settling.
I wouldn't be where I
Facts.
could be.
Settling.
Settling.
Yes, we tend to think that, oh God, the worst thing that could have happened. Oh my God, this is just
Because something
and
is better than nothing.
Yep.
that's what
Because
we think.
we don't want to put any more effort, such as waiting for what God has in store.
As
We don't want to
something
wait.
as patience.
Yep. And so we'll
But
just going to settle for what we get.
Yes,
because
because we don't
I'm
have patience.
already 50 and don't have a man. So yes, he's not the best.
But
It's
I'll take
probably
what I can
somebody.
get.
Baby, listen, tell Mr. Charlie to come on because I don't know if anybody else is
Tell
coming
Mr.
behind
Charlie
him.
to. And I'm
Charlie,
telling you,
Charlie.
the Bible said temptation's gonna come. Like you're gonna be tempted to do it because God already told us you're gonna be tempted. You're gonna be like, okay, I might as well. I'm I might as well. If you have to put in your words, I might as well. That's why I don't like the word sure. Like either or maybe. Like either yes or no. Like, but
I might have been.
let
I'm only
Honest.
laughing because I think I might have been guilty of giving you a sure once upon a time. So
Yes,
people give it to me all the time. I have learned not to be upset with it because just because that's how I feel about it
right,
does
exactly.
not
right.
mean that's how you feel about it. So God had to bring me all the way down and say, you are you and they are they. Like
Right,
they
right.
don't have that same reality
Other
as
people
you.
who have an epiphany or revelation about something that other people may not feel the same way about. And just
Exactly.
because you get
I
it doesn't
can't put
mean
my
they're right.
revelation on you.
Right,
Like
exactly. What you say? I got the revelation. He didn't give me. He didn't make a public service announcement to put out there for everybody to get
I didn't get the
it.
memo.
but because you don't know, I know why he tells me the maybe and I can't accept maybe. I can't accept sure because titter. I will titter around, and that's it's for my good.
Sure.
But you might not haven't been down that
Okay,
journey.
Natasha. Sure.
Exactly.
We got to get out of here. We're at the top of the hour. Look, see, we finna start cutting up now.
Really, we like cutting up. We will do. We always need at least a 5 minute cut up time.
I'm so sorry. I just so used to using that word. Like, sure. It just
Hey,
rolled off my
okay.
tongue.
Because
My
you don't
bad,
sure
Sparkle.
me.
Natasha, we was just talking about sure. Don't sure it's not appropriate right now.
Sure is not appropriate. If
Yeah.
I'm having a breakdown and I call you and say, "Can you talk?" and you say, "Sure,"
Sure.
I'm not gonna
Yikes.
call you.
I'm gonna have to change my whole vocabulary when I'm
But
talking to you.
see, you shouldn't tell them other people that you can't tell
Have a
your
great
inner
day,
thing.
Cynthia Lewis.
Y'all have a
Oh my
good one.
God.
I
Bye,
believe God.
everyone.
Do you believe God? We believe God. We will be back on
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Yay.
See y'all
Bye.
later.